you something.
You did?
Trade a friendship
Oh,
bracelet.
thank you. That's so cute.
Hey.
Hi.
So, can you introduce yourself? Just tell us a little bit about yourself now.
Yeah, I'm Harliegh. I'm a junior here at Auburn High, and my pronouns are she and her. Yes.
Got you something.
You did?
Trade a friendship
Oh,
bracelet.
thank you. That's so cute.
Hey.
Hi.
So, can you introduce yourself? Just tell us a little bit about yourself now.
Yeah, I'm Harliegh. I'm a junior here at Auburn High, and my pronouns are she and her. Yes.
This week, Tiger TV interviewed LGBTQIA+ teen activist Harliegh Walker. She is honored in the Teen Vogue 20 Under 20 and this past summer testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee. She was featured on the Kelly Clarkson Show as one of the youngest to testify before the committee.
Things. I love my life. I love my family. I love my friends, and I am happy. I am asking for you to help us stop certain people from using the transgender community as a political pawn. Please stop attacking our lives for votes or money. These are human rights hanging in the balance. Help us communicate that they are impacting people's lives and our pursuit of happiness. We are just like your kid, just like your neighbor, and you. We also deserve the ability to be happy. Thank you.
Her achievements are unparalleled. I interviewed her about these achievements and more.
Honestly, I'm so busy this year, I don't have much free time, to be honest. But I mean, I like to watch TV with my family or hang out with friends, typically.
Yeah, junior year is crazy
I know.
stressful. I don't know how.
I do not have the free time. It's crazy.
So, what inspired you to become an activist? Like, can you pinpoint a moment that made you decide to do that?
Yeah, I'd say about like 2020, 2021, Alabama was one of the first states that introduced anti-trans legislation. Yeah, I am so lucky to have an amazing family, and my mom and my dad are like full support behind me. Whenever I came out about like 5 or 6 years ago, it was a time where, you know, trans people weren't really known in the media as much. And so we were all just kind of like going on the journey together, and they were with me every step of the way. So having that support and having, you know, my dad who comes to these things with me is really so important. And I think it shows that, you know, we are a family just like any other family. We just happen to be a trans family.
So how did you end up on the Senate Judiciary Committee?
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. This year, I was invited to DC in May for a trans youth prom that these trans people from across the country organized a trans prom to be held in the Capitol, Washington, DC. Just like as a fun way for trans people to get together and, you know, just have fun. And that was really cool. And while we were there, we met with the vice president of the Human Rights Campaign because one of the events was like taken off because of like, do you remember like the wildfires and smoke that happened in the summer? Yeah. So we had to reschedule it, and so we went to the Human Rights Campaign and we met with the vice president, and she was like, hey, there's this really cool opportunity. We would love a trans family to come speak at the Senate Judiciary Committee for a new hearing coming up. And, you know, it was a lot of like back and forth meeting, and there were multiple family options, but they ended up choosing us. And I got to speak as the youngest person ever to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. It was really cool.
And that is, of course, like a really great accomplishment of you. You do debate?
Yeah.
What do you think your area of debate is? Like?
I do Lincoln Douglas debate, which is a more moral, philosophical type of debate. It comes from the actual Lincoln and Frederick Douglass debates in the 1800s. It's kind of modeled off of that, where we have more moral and like arguments about policy coming up. And so I'm co-captain of the LD debate team at Auburn, which is really, really cool. And it's kind of where I find my sense of community at Auburn High. I'm also president of AHS Educate GSA, which is our Gender Sexuality Alliance at Auburn High School. And so I just really like to, you know, find people, like debate is my passion, I feel like. I want to go into political science in college, and so that kind of field is really fun for me. But I also, you know, want to meet other, you know, queer students in the school, and that's why I love GSA. I'm also a part of the Diversity Council here. So I really just hope I can make a difference not only for trans people outside of school, but in the school as well.
It's a great thing to have a great. So so you said you wanted to go into like political science when you get older. Like, what are your long-term goals?
I really want to move to DC for college and go for political science, like I said. and eventually go to law school and become a lawyer. And I just kind of want to, be a voice for trans people across the country, especially in such a time of misinformation and hate. I think, having that platform and being able to help other trans people that aren't as privileged as I am to be able to speak out, I think is what I'm passionate about and want to do, and just make a difference for the world overall, legally or just, by sharing my story, because it's like the best thing you can do.
Of course, so do you want to get into politics? Or?
Yeah, I want to get my law degree, be a lawyer, and then maybe run for Senate or the House one day and go into politics. Because since 2020, I am a little weird. I've been watching C-SPAN of the House and the Senate hearings, and I'm just like, that's so fascinating. But doing all this advocacy and being able to go to DC to testify before the Senate just made me fall in love with it so much.
That's so great. So do you have any advice for anybody out there who's nervous to come out or is scared by the pressure around coming out nowadays?
I think now is a time where it's so hard to come out because of all the hate that has been happening. Lawmakers are just putting forward their political agendas and not actually focusing on there are real people that are trans. But we're just like any other person. We're just like any other, son, daughter, friend. We're just happen to be transgender, and that's who we are. But I think, sticking to that trans joy is most important. And, in such a time of hate, I think it's important to find community, find things that you're interested in, just continue to be your authentic self, because that's the most important.
Auburn High School is so proud of her accomplishments, and we are excited to see where she goes from here.